Good afternoon, everybody. This is Captain Rich with Still Waters Fishing. Hope you guys are having a great day. Back in the shop doing some more swim jigs, and I'm trying to project forward what the bite is going to be like in the coming months. So here in the Virginia Beach area, we don't have grass, and we do not have those lovely little silver dollar lily pads or the dinner plate size lily pads where they just lay nice and flat. We have lily pads that are the most heinous thing that grow out of the water. They're robust, they're tough, and they stick out about a foot and a half. So you want to fish those before they get full grown, before they're even touching the top of the water, because they grow in clusters that are thick, and the fish are not dumb. When you hook them in the lily pads, they know exactly what to do. They're going to try to bury their nose, they're going to try to swim around them. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you, well, just fish straight braid, because to be honest, that's where I started. And I'd say you're about 50-50 there for fighting them out of the lily pads. Because what happens is you just end up tearing a hole in their lip due to the pressure of them pulling, and braid has zero give. I mean, if you weigh 150 pounds and you're throwing everything you got on a 3 pound, 5 pound, even an 8 pound fish, it's metal, their mouth is flesh, something's going to give. So I've found that is not as successful as like a braid to leader. I use fluorocarbon, usually 20 pound. I will throw 17 pound, but I prefer 20. So when you're fishing these things, especially when you want to go delicate, because you can sneak a wacky rig in there, and one of my favorite things to do is just throw it in there, and I call it the do nothing approach. It's one of the approaches that I hate doing because I can't hold still. So that is one of the options. But what I do with my wacky hooks, so this is a Vector wacky rig. I tie 4 strands of weed guard on there, and that's what we're going to go over today. And I'm also going to talk about how the bite kind of changes in the lily pads during the pre-spawn. So I'm gonna get the hook and the vise, we'll tie that up, and I'll just kind of show you what I do there. Highly effective. I've thrown that wacky hook in anything. Yes, I do get caught, but not as much as I've tried the metal wire weed guards. Those just didn't hold up for me. So this was an act of desperation on my part. I started doing it, I found success with it, and then just been doing it ever since. So here we go. All right, so I just take my little wacky hook here and try to tilt that in a manner, and then I'm going to, I don't like using black because the wacky rig's sitting there. I like to use something natural like a green or a brown, so we're gonna go green. Go green. That's my conservation tip of the month. Go green. And I'll pull off 4 strands together that meet at the bottom. And what I'm trying to do is make it so that when I pull those off, that little braised part stays on there, because I'm going to use that to my advantage. So those are together, just like that, 4 strands. Okay, we'll put that over there. Anytime you're using this thread to kind of either put strands together, skirt, or anything else, you want to start with a bed. That's going to slip right in there. So I'm going to do a couple wraps towards the eye, at the eye, because we're going to close that guy off. Then I'm going to come back towards the standing leg, that's this hand, nip that guy in the bud. Right there. Just kind of build that bed a little bit more. Alright, then I'm going to take my little strands here, and this, I'll show you why. So I leave that little clump on there. What I first started doing is I was just trying to take 4 that were individually cut, and that was not panning out. So it really doesn't matter where I hold it, because that clump's going to be at the end. I just hold that underneath there like that, as straight as possible. Get a couple wraps. And then I just want to make sure that that is laying the way that I want it to. Just keep making adjustments. It's not final till we glue it and let it cure. So now I'm going to start pulling this up a little bit so I can see how it's going to lay. So I got one that's kicking out and I don't like it because I want to do that on my own. I don't want it to do it naturally. I was being facetious there. It's going to do what it's going to do anyways. So I got some wraps on there. Just take that and lock it down. Put 3 or 4 of those on there. Then we're going to take some of my favorite product, little Hallie Hansen clear coat. Every good lure maker's got a bunch of fingernail polish in their drawers. Don't think I didn't have to answer some questions for that. Alright, so that's tight now. I'm gonna pull that little knot. Oh, I gotta start that video all over again. Are you kidding me right now? Or press forward. Mistakes are mistakes. Now I'm gonna do the expedited version. And I tore all those apart. Take 2. And now I gotta talk through this mistake in rapido form so I don't lose your guys' concentration. Alright, we're putting the mouth vise to work here. Here we go. Like so. Maybe I should put a little bit more pressure on it this time. Maybe I was being just a little too candy. Alright. Alright. Remember, failure is an event, not a person. Everybody makes mistakes. Oh, golly. I'm going to make all sorts of them right now. Back on it. Okay, back to nudging this guy up just a little bit. There we go. So now I'm even there. I'm going to slap the glue in there. Glue, fingernail polish. Just get that coat. So I'm going to let that sit for about 5 minutes and I'll come back, throw another coat on there. And then while that's drying, so what I do is I store these in my tackle box straight, just like that. And then when I get ready to use them, I bend them down. Works very well. I was going to tell you how to fish it, but if you just tie it on and throw it, I think you'll figure out on your own. The next thing I wanted to talk about was fishing in the lily pads. It is not, the bite isn't always the same. I always start out with the spinnerbait. If you watch this channel for 5 minutes, I love the spinnerbait. It just kind of gives me a sense of where the fish are, how aggressive the bite is. Whether you're fishing a spinnerbait, a chatterbait, a crankbait, a swim jig. The swim jig is what I'm going to concentrate on. Whatever you're throwing, if you're getting short strikes, they want to play ball, but they just want you to make a change in either vibration, color, speed, presentation. So last week we had a tournament and I was blanking throughout the entire thing. I pulled up into a couple shallow spots. I was messing with the chatterbait, a new crankbait. You guys, if you haven't seen the video, it's in there. You know, new lures in old areas and proven lures in new areas. I was sticking to that. And I pulled into where the lily pads usually are, and this is a popular place to fish this time of year because that's where they want to go. So I threw the swim jig in there and I reeled it back, medium pace, just kind of fan casting. And I saw some commotion over by a log. I threw it over there. So when I'm just doing a medium pace and I don't get anything, I recover the entire area, but I change my retrieve. And I go as slow as I can to stay in contact with the bottom. Not much slower than that, but just slow enough to stay in contact with the bottom. This time of year, you will feel a hit, but it's not like they got it. And when I feel that and I think that's the bite, I kill it. I just drop my rod and I let it sit, and I just watch that little swoop in my line. When I feel them hit it again, I don't do anything until I see them starting to pull on it. That's when it tells me it's in their mouth, they've got it, and they're starting to move out. Reel down, so pull goes from 12 to 3. I feel them pull on it, and then everything I got straight up. When you're in the lily pads, I cannot stress this enough. Rod goes straight up and it stays there. I'm not pulling it to the side, not this way. I'm not working them. I go straight up with the hook set, very strong hook set, hoping that that gets their nose up, and I just go to work. As Gerald Swindle says, like a pencil sharpener. You're just trying to hold that up, because what you want to do is get that head started in the up position, and you don't want to give them a chance to get it down, because if they get it down, they're going to wrap around the lily pads, and they have now tilted the scales in their direction. It's a dog fight each and every time, and it's not, I don't know if there is a technique that's 100%, but that's what I try to concentrate on when I'm fishing the lily pads in the pre-spawn. They're not fully grown, they're not even coming, but they're going to start growing and they're going to get more robust. So that is the technique that I've found works more times than not. When it comes to the wacky rig and the weed guard in the lily pads, I've found success with just letting it sit there. It will make it through the lily pads, but you got to remember, you only got a worm on there, and you only want to pull hard enough to defeat that a little bit. I mean, it doesn't take much. So if you're just ripping it through there, yeah, you're probably going to get hooked up. But if you understand that the tensile strength of these guys isn't that much, and that's how much pressure you give it, it's going to come through cover a lot easier. And I feel like you guys are probably going to have a lot more success with fishing that wacky hook. If you've never fished a wacky rig, it's not like a Texas rig or a shaky head or a jig. You don't just reel down or slack line them, and I find a lot more success with reel setting them. So when I feel the hit and I'm verifying that they are there and they've got it and they're either moving or they're still there, I charge that reel as fast as possible, and as soon as I feel that rod start to load, then I set it. That's what I got for you. I hope you guys get out there for the pre-spawn season. It's going down in Virginia Beach. It's a little cooler this week. I haven't been out, but if you see a peak of 2 or 3 days where it's warm, get out there when the sun is high, and I feel pretty sure that you might find your biggest fish this year. This is a great time to get some good fish in Virginia Beach. That's all I got for you today. I appreciate you guys tuning in. To all my subscribers, I appreciate it. It's fun to think that there's 36 other people out there that enjoy this stuff as much as I do and don't mind looking at a goofball. You guys have a good one. Godspeed.